What's up, the squad? Back with another video. I seen the titles going down. Make sure you hit the like button, hit that subscribe button for me, please. Y'all see it right here. Elon Musk in agreement with President Trump. Definitely crazy. You got 19 billion. Excuse me. You got 19 billion. I had bad heartburn, y'all. I definitely apologize. I got bad heartburn. I don't know what it is. Literally had a rough day at basketball practice today, and truly rough. I usually don't get as active if I was, but today had to. I know I try to let y'all know a little bit, that's going on in my life. Truly, it was a tough practice because we lost last game. And I had to get my players right. Did a lot of running, a lot of focusing on what's going down. So I definitely apologize. But anyways, got 19 billion at a minimum in Minnesota. That's missing. Definitely insane. Check it out here, President Trump.
Nobody talks about the fact that $19 billion at a minimum is missing in Minnesota, given to a large degree by Somalians. They've taken it. Somalians, can you imagine? And they don't do it. A lot of very low IQ people, they don't do it. Other people work it out, and they get them money, and they go out and buy Mercedes-Benzes, and they come from here, they have no money. They never had money. They never had a life. They never had a government. They never had a country, because there's basically no country. Somalia is not even a country. They don't have anything that resembles a country. And if it is a country, it's considered just about the worst in the world. They come here and they become rich and they don't have a job.
Exactly.
I was told that Ilhan Omar is worth $30 million. She never had a job.
30 million.
She's a
30 million, y'all. $30 million. Definitely insane. Definitely insane. Again, you got President Trump. This is at and I wanna make sure we do this in the right way. We do this in the right way, because a lot of this, I'm not even gonna lie, is very, very important. A lot of this is very important because I want them to do it right. I don't want this to be, and I've said this and I've said this and I've said this. I don't want this to be, swept up under the rug. I feel like there's too many individuals that are getting away with a lot. And you have an individual that literally had, and if I'm not mistaken, at one point, like $40, $50 in their account, and somehow ends up with having 20 million. And I promise y'all can look this up. But for that right there, it's very, very insane to me. Very insane. Check it out, President Trump again.
The situation in Minnesota reminds us that the West cannot mass import foreign cultures which have failed to ever build a successful society of their own. I mean, we're taking people from Somalia, and Somalia is it's not a nation. Got no government, got no police, got no military, got no nothing. And then we have this fake congressperson who they just reported is worth $30 million. You believe this? Ilhan Omar, talking about the Constitution that provides me. She comes from a country that's not a country, and she's telling us how to run America. Not going to get away with it much longer, let me tell you.
Mm-hmm. And that right there tells y'all everything. Not going to get away with it much longer. Trust and believe, I see a lot of things that will be happening near future. Definitely. Got it right here. Ilhan Omar only achievement was stealing millions from American taxpayers, allegedly. Says the House Oversight Committee has launched an investigation into Omar's family net worth, which skyrocketed to $30 million amid the $9 billion Somali fraud scandal in her district. Everybody's saying $9 billion. It definitely went up. I'm pretty sure it's in that 20 billion. I mean, everybody's saying 9 billion. I think it's in that 20. I think it's higher than that. Me personally, I definitely feel like it's higher than that. But check it out right here, Fox News.
Woman Ilhan Omar's net worth went up nearly $30 million. The question is how. Here's what we know. Omar's husband, a former political consultant, owns a venture capital firm based in Washington, D.C. and a winery in California. Take a look at these numbers. In 2023, Omar disclosed a maximum of $50,000 in assets at the winery. The next year, Dana, that number increased to $5 million. Meanwhile, her husband's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023. The next year, it was $25 million. Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year, posting on X, quote, "I barely have thousands, let alone millions." House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells.
Let me explain something to y'all. If an individual says this, I barely have thousands, let alone millions, and they literally have to post this, trust I'll believe they guilty. They guilty. Because why are you responding? If you know, and that's the thing, if you know what you have, you don't gotta explain that to nobody. If they sitting there, oh, this person got, trust and believe. I'm not about to be like, oh, this is, I only got this much. Only a guilty person does that. Trust and believe.
House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells Fox News an investigation is underway, writing, quote, "The committee is working on addressing ethics concerns regarding Representative Omar and her spouse, and we hope to have an update soon." But Omar says she's being targeted.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird ethics investigations. None of them have yielded anything because I have been as transparent as I can be.
Of course, others see it differently. Elon Musk says Omar committed fraud, while President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "She should be in jail or even a worse punishment, sent back to Somalia." Omar authored the Meals Act in 2020.
Y'all know about the Meals Act. We're going to move on. Let me tell y'all something. Going back to what he said right here. A lot of individuals are in the comments saying Ilhan Omar needs to go to prison. Send Ilhan Omar to prison. Do this, do that. Trust and believe, a worse punishment is going back to Somalia. I'm not even going to lie. As you think about it, and I say this because Ilhan, and I have to say this, I truly feel like she's that main individual. They need her. Because there's no way, and you may think, oh, well, there's other Somalians that it is. But trust and believe, they didn't get all of that together. They don't have all this together. Ilhan, trust and believe, she has all that set. I mean, you have individuals like Keith Ellison, you have Tim Walz, you got Mayor Fry that are, working with, but you have Ilhan Omar that has all of them in line. Trust and believe. So if she gets sent back, y'all should know. This is what I was talking about right here. Says new records show, this is, pretty wild. New records show Ilhan Omar allegedly went from having just $42 in the bank to reporting to $25 million a year later. I've said this before. You pretty much then really did your thing on a business, hit the lottery, on a jackpot. This is not something that you just do. Not to mention a person in Congress. You know what I mean? So, I don't know about y'all, but this is wild. I don't know about y'all. Check it out.
Investigation after racking up millions while she was in Congress. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has it. What's up, Kevin?
Good to see you, my friend. What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota. The oversight chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices. Republicans want to know how the Somali-born Omar and her politically connected husband, Tim Minette, went from being nearly broke to being worth around $30 million in just a year, according to her 2024 disclosure forms. Quoting Comer now, there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. It's not possible. It's not. And he's a money guy. Manette and his partner, Will Haler, back in 2022, formed an investment firm, Jesse, named Rose Lake Capital. They had $42 in their bank account at the time, but in a year, up to $25 million, according to Omar's filing. By the way, he also has a wine business that went from next to nothing to millions on its books. Not surprisingly, associates were so perplexed about the irregularities, they brought information and attention to the feds to, look into it. Now, for her part, the Congresswoman has repeatedly, and I say defiantly, denied any wrongdoing while being also careful to criticize the ongoing probe. But, sometimes they say, Jesse, the ones who yell the loudest have the most to hide.
I told you. There's no reason she just got on her side. Oh, I have thousands. There's no way I have millions. I mean, probably not now. I mean, what'd you do with it? What'd you spend it on? Where'd you put it? You know what I mean? A lot of questions. Definitely a lot of questions. This is a post by Gunther Eagleman. It says, holy crap, Ilhan Omar always looks horrible, but today is very noticeable. She's cracking. She's stressing. I don't know. You can definitely tell when a person just knows, that they're on to you. You definitely can tell. I'm not even gonna lie. Got it right here. And again, this is definitely sad that this is still happening. This woman right here literally says two Somalia-born U.S. citizens were arrested at the airport in Minneapolis as they attempted to go through TSA with suitcases full of cash, y'all. Went through it full of cash. This stuff. So we remember we talked about this already. Originally. We talked about this originally. That they was doing this. They're still doing it. Insane. And I definitely apologize. I'm trying to be quiet because this video is like crazy low. So I definitely apologize. Try to see if this helps.
Arrested at the airport in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as they attempted to go through TSA with suitcases full of cash. In their suitcases, they had close to $15,000. Each of them had international flights. We now know through whistleblowers that work for TSA that for years, Somalian men would show up in pairs about twice a week with suitcases full of cash. Their money would go through TSA, it would be tagged, then it would be approved, and they would go on their way, sending millions, perhaps billions of dollars to Somalia. The whistleblower that I spoke to said he had seen over $750,000 worth of cash. Another whistleblower said she'd seen close to $1 million. And for some reason, the TSA agents, the people who worked at the airport, would just allow this money to go on. We now know that all this money being sent to Somalia is American taxpayer dollars. No one did anything to stop it. No one even reported it. I guarantee you government leaders knew about this. I guarantee you higher-ups in the airport knew about this, and they were probably getting a little piece of the pie. Thankfully, we are on to this. The gig is over, and HSI did arrest these two Somalian-born U.S. citizens with suitcases full of cash heading to Somalia. Let me know your thoughts on this one.
I can't say I'm surprised. I truly can't say that I'm surprised. But they was doing it a little different. I'm pretty sure it was doing it a little different. They said it was flying to Minnesota. To somewhere else, I think. Or from Minnesota to Atlanta and then Dubai and then wiring the money to Somalia. Allegedly. That's what they were saying. But I didn't know they was doing it. Somebody said that's our money. True. But the thing is, somebody said $15K isn't that much. I've left with that traveling a year. Okay, again, I know there's individuals that truly has that amount of money, that got that amount of money in their bank accounts now. Trust and believe, 10K, 15K, 20K, okay, that's fine. It's the simple fact that they're doing this multiple times. Now what they're doing and what I'm recognizing is that they have this money. And they see that everybody now things are crashing down on them. They seeing this investigation. They seeing this. They seeing that. They trying to, okay, now we got to figure out something. We got to get this money moved. I'm telling y'all, people got to put two and two together. Truly, truly do. Truly do. Says small business administrator Kelly Loeffler. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. Says they've already uncovered 7,000 fraudulent small businesses loans in Minnesota, totaling $430 million stolen from taxpayers. Check it out.
Administrator, fantastic to see you in person. So we hit the numbers. 6,900 borrowers suspended, about, $400 million in alleged fraud. We want to see jail time for these people as well. Is that on the way?
Look, this is in the future. There's handcuffs and jail time coming, because what we saw when we dug into it, it didn't take long when we scratched the surface within 2 days to find $3 million worth of fraud. Then it accumulated up to $430 million, 7,000 fraudulent borrowers. That's in one state. So we're getting to work, taking a deeper dive. We're sending those files over to federal law enforcement for prosecution, and then we're going on to the next state, and we're going to continue to follow through on this, because this is pandemic era fraud that the Biden administration tried to sweep under the rug, and it took money from deserving Main Street businesses. And we know how hard our small businesses work. They make up 99% of all the businesses in all of our states across the country.
Definitely wild, y'all. Definitely wild. Says it only took 2 days of digging to find $3 million in fraud. Telling y'all. 2 days of digging to find $3 million in fraud. Just imagine as they keep on digging and seeing all of this that's coming. I'm telling y'all. Ooh. And I can't wait. It's definitely gonna be more out. One thing about it though, and like said, truly, you know, and again, I love that, you know, they're talking about it. Yes, we're gonna investigate. Yes, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We need to see that action though. We need to see stuff getting done. Check it out, JD Vance.
Full fact here. If you're a young parent struggling to afford childcare in the United States of America, there are programs that we have to make it easier for your kids to get in daycare, for your kids to get in preschool. Those programs should go to American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it hard for you to get the access to the resources you need. But number two, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources that are focused on SNAP fraud so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas that the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate...
I'm pretty sure it's even worse in California, if I'm not mistaken.
This remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
I told you. Needs to definitely start that in Minnesota. But it's happening everywhere else. I truly feel like when, you know, having Minnesota, finding everything they need in Minnesota, it'll lead them to other places. Trust and believe, it'll lead them to other places. You're hearing so much about Ilhan Omar and the money that she supposedly has. Trust and believe. One thing about it, Megyn Kelly said it best. I'm going to just let her say it.
A lot of these Somalis have become naturalized citizens, and now there's a push to denaturalize them, take away that citizenship if they've committed any sort of fraud or crime, or, you know, welfare fraud, what have you. And I'm totally behind that too. 100%. You don't get to come here, game the system just to get yourself declared an American just so you can mooch off the rest of us. Get out and stop with the mooching.
Real talk. You don't get to come here and game the system just to get yourself declared an American just so you can mooch off the rest of us. I'm telling y'all. That's how I feel. I know a lot of y'all feel the same way. One thing about it, and I know a lot of y'all know, JD Vance is, he will be, and I don't know if y'all seen my video yesterday. JD Vance will be in Minnesota, if not already. So definitely love the simple fact that that is happening, and I truly feel like they need to keep it there, investigate, do everything they need to do, and it's time to make some changes. Time to make some changes with it. People gotta be held accountable. President Trump also says there's $19 billion in Minnesota Somali fraud. Fake Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, a constant complainer who hates the USA, knows everything there is to know. Trust and believe. She knows everything. That's what people feel about. She knows everything. You do what you got to do when it comes to Ilhan Omar. Whether it's prison, sent back to Somalia, everything will follow in order. Trust and believe. She should be in jail or even worse, punishment, sent back to Somalia. Considered one of the absolutely worst countries in the world. She could help make Somalia great again. One thing about it, make sure y'all hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know y'all comments thoughts down below. Definitely appreciate y'all. Much love to every single last one of y'all. Catch y'all next one.